Life on the outside.
Life on the outside is pretty fast.
Life on the outside is spectacular.
Beautiful. For me, life on the outside, every day I strive to be a better person than I was the day before.
It's more than I imagined it would be.
Expensive.
Life is everything you make it to be.
You think you have time for multiple things during that day, but you don't.
It's challenging.
Life on the outside is completely different than I expected it to be.
Ever since he walked out the front door at Rockview State Prison more than 4 months ago, Michael Lehman has barely stopped moving. He doesn't feel like he can or should. He missed out on 30 years of experiences while he was locked up. So even after putting in long hours working, it beats where he was.
Yep.
Michael got a job at his brother-in-law's rebar supply shop. A job is required now that he's on parole. It fills most of his days, and he's making a lot more here than the 42 cents an hour he made in the carpentry shop in prison.
Yeah, there's just a lot more stuff out along the highway than there used to be.
He also has been getting a new perspective on his new freedom from behind the wheel.
Sometimes it just hits me, the fact that I'm driving home.
He got his driver's license soon after his release, and sometimes on his way home, he turns down random roads just to see where they'll take him. And at home now, he has someone waiting for him, a girlfriend, a friend of the family who reached out to Michael within a week of his release after she heard his story and offered to help.
It's a lot being the girlfriend of a guy who just did 30 years, you know, and for murder. Coming in.
She's the one who taught Michael how to drive and how to navigate the daily ins and outs of life as a free person. Exactly the kind of partner Michael was skeptical he'd be able to find, especially so quickly.
She's been an absolute blessing in my life. She's made the transition a lot better and a lot easier.
But there are parts of his new life that Michael is still adjusting to. He enjoys the privacy he never had before, but not the loneliness that sometimes comes with it.
I thought in prison that, I can't wait to be alone. I can't wait, and I don't like it. Because it's uncomfortable. 30 years, I was never alone, ever. There was always somebody close by. Even if I didn't have a cellie, there was still the cell next to me or the cell across from me, or I could hear the guards moving. I could hear televisions, and yeah. So that's taken some getting used to, and I didn't expect that.
He also admits that sometimes he misses the structure that living in prison provided, the certainty.
Let us organize it.
Now, what he does with his own life is up to him. There is no certainty, and he's figuring that out.
Just to be comfortable. I think that's something that's just absolutely amazing. I look forward to that more than anything else.
But some people with a connection to juvenile lifers describe life as anything but comfortable.
And this actually was the last picture that was taken with him.
It's torture.
Yeah, right there.
Because every picture is a reminder of what they no longer have.
I haven't seen that picture for a while.
Yeah.
Kwame Beatty's family did not want to talk about their experience, but in court they did. At Michael's resentencing, Kwame's sister testified that she met with Michael in prison 13 years after the murder and said she forgave him. But she considers Michael most responsible for her brother's death because as the lookout, she believes Michael covered for the killers.
It's hard.
But Sherry McMichael and Melissa Vaquero do want to talk publicly about their younger brother, Stephen.
That's so typical him.
Also the victim of a juvenile lifer's crime.
And here he is.
Stephen Turner was the life of his family, and as his two older sisters watched on, he would run around and pester them as only a younger brother could. And he'd always light up the room with that smile, the one that filled his face.
He loved to bang on the piano keys. I remember that because I played the piano.
But even the memories of him are hardly a consolation.
It's kind of weird, but you kind of try to block out some of these good times because they're hard to think about.
Life has not been the same for anyone in the family ever since Stephen lost his. Stephen was 11 years old in 1981 and just made it to the 6th grade when a neighborhood friend murdered him. Days later, John Waters, then 16, admitted to police that he was the one who did it. He took Stephen to an old farmhouse near their homes in Hampton Township and sexually assaulted him. Then he stabbed Stephen in the back and smashed his head with a rock. And to make sure he was dead, he slit his wrists and stabbed him so hard in the neck, the handle on the knife broke off in his hand. The murder broke Stephen's family.
You never get over it. You never, ever get over it. The pain is just as deep. The sorrow is just as deep. And it just never goes away.
John Waters is now 54 years old and a juvenile lifer. Following the Supreme Court decision, a judge took away his life sentence and made him eligible for parole in 2020. That's something Stephen's family is adamantly against.
I promised my mother on her deathbed that we would make sure that this man never got out of jail.
So by no means legal experts, Melissa and Sherry have dug into the law and are trying to find a way to keep Waters from getting parole.
1970.
It scares me to death because I think he'll kill somebody again. If that ever happened, I would feel like we didn't do enough.
When she says the pain never goes away, she means it. Stephen's sisters do not believe all juvenile lifers should be denied parole.
Evil.
They just want some discretion used in how convicted murderers are getting released.
There are certainly going to be some unjust punishments. I've seen some of them. There's also going to be some that the key needs to be thrown away. And there's a reason why they gave them no parole. Our case, I feel, is one of them.
But on their case, the clock is ticking. It's an unsettling, ever-present reminder that a juvenile lifer's actions made decades ago continue causing pain. And while one man prepares for possible freedom, an entire family is forever trapped in tragedy.
Redemption alone isn't all, because there's so many lives that are affected beyond the person that was killed.